All right, Blog Talk Radio. You know what? This is the first bit of information that I find, well, maybe useful, but probably isn't. This is a listen by source part of Cortex. You're brand new, bright and shiny. Y'all can't wait to defend it. Statistical matrix tells us how many people in a particular time period are listening using Chrome, Firefox, or another browser, Internet Explorer, Chrome Mobile, all of this stuff, which I find interesting, I guess, hardly necessary. A graph of listens by date, and I don't do as many shows as I used to, so my numbers aren't really sterling, and maybe the numbers that I have don't really reflect the sort of attention that I'd like to have, especially in the last 30 days, where there's 58. And for some reason there's no year to year comparison here. I'm not sure why that is. This is the improvement on month to month. And here's the abandonment rate, which I find maybe an interesting piece of statistical data, hardly something that I need. Here's the completion data. It's interesting, but it's not something that I need, because this data that most people are gathering, most people only want to know, they only want to know one thing: how many people listened. For the amount of money that we pay, some pay a lot. I don't pay the most. I pay the least amount to get at least 2 hours every time. How many people are listening? That's all people want to know. Most of us couldn't give a rip if they're listening on Chrome or Firefox or Internet Explorer. God help those poor slubs that are listening on Internet Explorer. Most of us don't care. Most of us aren't interested in the abandonment or even the completion, really. Especially the abandonment. How many people bail out after 2 minutes? I don't care. Did you count them or not? No, if you don't count them, that's cool. But did you count them? All that I want is how many people listened. I want to know how many people listened to a particular episode. I want to know how many people have listened total to the show. And I'll tell you why the episode. First of all, if you have a guest, if you have an author or a musician or a senator or a congressman, and you want to have them multiple times, they want to know how the last show did. And when you can't really tell them past 30 days, because that's all you can get to, let's see if I can get to that. Past 30 days, then that, after those 30 days go, then you really can't give them information. Why should they keep showing up on your show? Who's listening? That's a new show. So some of these shows that I did a month ago or so, in the last 7 days, which is the default, I think. Yes, in the last 7 days, okay, no one's listened to it, but it's a month old. How many people listen to it total? Well, and the farther back you get, the less data you have on how many people listen to that show in perpetuity. That's information that's helpful, especially when you look back and go, you know what? I want to know who my legacy guests are, who are the people I can go to all the time and say, you know what? The last time you were on my show a year ago, we rocked the house. And here's evidence of that. So I need to know that. And I also need to know how many people have listened in the entire history of my show. I need to know that. And I'll tell you why, because we use it to market our shows. Because God knows that that a show like mine, that's been on Blog Talk Radio since 2008, doesn't get marketed by Blog Talk Radio. God knows that I because of the new algorithm, there's no way that I can get a show featured. There's no way. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy that a show that doesn't have many listens to start with will ever get many listens. So it's almost impossible to get a show featured on the front page of Blog Talk Radio. It's almost impossible. As a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and say that it's impossible, that it can't be done. I will say that it used to be able to be done because I've done it a couple of times. And if I could go back and get that data, which I cannot, because for one reason or another, that data is totally scrubbed from the website, totally scrubbed from the database, which kind of upsets me. You can hear that in my voice. But that's what we're dealing with. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. When it comes down to all of it, let me flip this around if I can. Let me flip this around if I can here. I don't know if I can or not.